This week, Optus drops by to talk about their new 5G shopping application, Xiaomi earbuds, and the guys from Sony drop by to talk about a brand new camera. All right, let's talk cameras. The world has been waiting for the brand new Sony Alpha for a number of months now, and this sort of noise of what was promised to be released by Sony was getting louder and louder. They have finally done it. It's all announced. It's released. It's here. We can look at it in more depth. And we can also talk with Sean Elwood from Sony about this brand new Sony Alpha 7S3. Welcome to the show, Sean. Thanks for your time today.
Great, thanks for having me on.
Look, you are obviously internal at Sony. You've been able to watch this arrival with a lot of interest. This line of cameras, the Alpha series from Sony, it has been the go-to for mirrorless for at least 10 years now. What is it that you're doing better than everyone else top line with your mirrorless range?
I think probably top line, the thing that we do really well is we focus on delivering cameras that really excel for specific end use cases. Of course, we have some great general purpose cameras, but then we have cameras like the R Mark IV, which are amazing for high end stills and getting stacks of resolution. And with the S Mark III, we've really delivered a tool that is going to be, we think, state of the art for filmmakers for the coming number of years.
The interesting thing is that for so long, mirrorless was what you got when you didn't want to get the step up to DSLR. But when we look at what you've done with this latest range, I'm not sure there's anything that you're actually missing out on. What is it that you're doing differently today that you haven't done so far? What's the new thing that people are going to get?
So on the A7S Mark III, I think the really big thing that we've brought is just complete flexibility in terms of your video formats. The A7S Mark II, which was the predecessor, already had great low light and had a sensor that could deliver awesome video quality. But for some people, there was a frustration around really extracting the maximum quality out of that camera. With the S Mark III, now we have 10-bit, we have 422, we have high data rate codecs, and all that stuff just means that you can really get quality video into your editing suite and out to your client's screen that maybe wouldn't have been possible with the previous camera.
Is this a camera that is for a broad audience? I mean, are you really pitching this at that sort of cinematographer that's earning their income from this space?
Yeah, I think there's always going to be an overlap there. The days where you could make a really clear, bright line between professional and a high-end amateur product are long gone. But we would say, principally, this is a professional camera. It's designed to satisfy the needs of people who are working professionally. And so, of course, there'll be enthusiasts and advanced amateurs who will pick it up, but the audience that we aim to please is professionals.
In that, pushing the limits of the product as far as it can go, sometimes manufacturers go beyond what you would perceive those limits to be. One outcome of that is overheating of the camera, for example, if you're pushing to too high a resolution. For the operator, when you're operating within the allowable limit, and it overheats like that, it's obviously a frustration. For Sony, it appears that you've sort of dialed back a couple of areas of output, but to maintain that consistency of performance, how important is that?
Well, for us, it's critical. We spend a lot of time taking feedback from the people who use our existing cameras. Obviously, A7S Mark II and Mark I have been workhorses for a long time, and we've had a lot of time to hear from the people who use them. And heat was just such a strong point of frustration. It's something that's not predictable. And ultimately, if you're trying to work professionally, predictability is critical. You need to understand exactly what your tools are going to let you do. If you've got talent on set and you're paying for people to be there, you can't just tell them, well, take a 5-minute breather, a 10-minute breather. I don't know when this thing will be ready again. That's not acceptable. So when we're trying to create a tool for pros, it has to behave predictably. And ultimately, that was why we chose to focus on reliability.
You talk about the product being made for cinematographers, but there is that overlap. At what point of understanding of cinematography and filming are you going to get the Alpha 7S Mark III, for example? I mean, because obviously for some people, they are going to want a product they can pick up and start filming with now. They're happy to make the investment, but they want to grow into it. Tell us about who your user is, more specifically, if they're not earning their income from this space.
Yeah, so for enthusiasts, I think people who really enjoy and appreciate flexibility in their footage, what the A7S Mark III is going to give you for video is a lot like moving into shooting RAW for stills. You get a lot more ability to push your footage around in post, and you also get those faster frame rates at really high quality, which is going to let you then play with time, compression, expansion, all that sort of stuff, which is a great effect to add in. Ultimately, you're not going to enjoy that benefit until you get quite into editing and pushing away from just using what comes out of camera the way it comes out of camera. But yeah, like you say, if you are looking to move into video, and of course, video is getting bigger and bigger every day, then an A7S Mark III will give you an amount of space to grow that you wouldn't find on any other camera in this sort of segment.
You've got 7S and 7R. Just for people watching, what is the difference between the 7S and the 7R?
So the R series are always focused on resolution and detail. Typically, we would be thinking people here are looking to shoot very detailed photos, maybe architecture, maybe landscape, lots of other genres, of course, as well. But it's about getting that maximum detail and really pushing your gear to the limits for stills. The R series is also, of course, designed as really capable hybrids. They do great video, but resolution's absolutely always the focus. The S series, they're originally named for sensitivity, although now we're sort of broadening that because they do so much more. So they're all about video. You get the best frame rates, you get the best codecs, you get all the tools that you would really want to shoot high quality video in a mirrorless form factor.
Very good. All right, so just also take me through your peak resolution of this as well. I mean, what kind of scale can I film at with the 7S Mark III?
So 7S Mark III maxes at 4K resolution. So that's 4,000 pixels across, about 8 megapixels in a video. It's huge. So that's really, the largest resolution that's typically delivered anywhere these days. It also gives you the really high frame rates, and that's where we probably most push the technology in the 7S Mark III. Of course, 4K is pretty commonplace these days, but 4K at 120 frames per second is definitely pushing the envelope. And so that's really the extreme on this one.
You can make some really good home videos with this one, that's for sure. All right, it's the Sony Alpha 7S Mark III that's been released, it's been announced, all the details are there. Make sure you check out more details on this one. It is a very, very solid performer. Sean Elwood from Sony, thank you for taking us through your camera range and in particular the brand new Mark III 7S.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Most of you know Hisense for their TV technology, but they're also bringing innovation into Australian kitchens too. Now they're offering this new refrigerator that not only looks smart on the outside, but is smart in how it keeps your food cool.
The Hisense Black Steel 519-litre bottom mount refrigerator offers a 6-star energy rating, the highest rating ever achieved in Australia. Hisense says this energy rating is thanks to a newly designed inverter motor and vacuum insulation panels. The better Energy Star rating, the more energy efficient the appliance is, and that can save you in power costs over the life of the appliance.
This fridge also provides a stable temperature throughout its interior by continually measuring conditions and managing output to keep your food fresher for longer. There's also less noise from the redesigned motor and compressor system.
With kitchens being a focal point for family time and entertaining, the fridge is designed to look stylish in your kitchen. Design innovation includes an attractive black steel finish, counter depth and flat panels on every side. On the interior, easy sliding drawers make it easy to use all the room inside, while the scratch-resistant shelves are adjustable to your needs, whether you're storing big bottles or small packages. The control system inside the fridge offers a few options, including super cool and super freeze options that rapidly chill food and drinks and ensure freezer items are quickly frozen to maintain flavour.
When you're shopping for your refrigerator, make sure you factor in the power-saving benefits to your electricity bill over the life of the unit. At 6 stars, it could save you plenty. See the Hisense fridge now at Harvey Norman.
Now it's time to talk about earbuds. Xiaomi, which is a advertiser on Cybershack, sent through these brand new earbuds for us to have a look at. And I thought, you know what? We'll throw these at Mr. Independence himself, Jeff Quattromani, tech expert, friend of the show. Get his views after using these buds for a week or so. Morning to you or afternoon to you, Jeff Quattromani.
G'day, Charlie. Thanks for having me.
Now, good to have a chat to you as per usual. These new Xiaomi buds, second ones that they've done in this range. Tell me about them. How did you find them?
Look, they're pretty interesting. They have a pretty familiar look to them. And I actually think that's a very good thing, that they do look like a lot of competitor products that you'll see on the market, most notably probably from Apple. Now, these particular buds, they do have the typical stem and the small bud that goes into the ear and a case that recharges them as well. So one of the great advantages straight away is that these buds, while they have a 4-hour battery life on their own, so you can listen to them for 4 hours straight, when you do put them back in the case, they get recharged. You're not always looking for a power point to actually recharge your headphones. So having that rechargeable case almost gives you up to 14 hours of listening time, and that's more than enough to get through a normal day.
It is, isn't it? And that's the thing with buds. There's a couple of things. It's, the losing of them, which is very, very hard to stop if you lose one bud. But also it's can you get through a day of listening to them, which most of us would be interested in doing through a regular workday, for example.
Absolutely. And from my perspective in testing these, I went and caught a train. I'm sitting on the train listening to some music. When I get off the train, put it back in the case, it's recharging, it's getting its juice back. And then it was just one of those simple experiences. And anyone who hasn't used wireless earphones before will just love how simple that is, because when you take them out, they automatically connect to your phone. There's nothing to actually do. You just put them on and away you go. You can also double tap the one side to skip songs or double tap the other side to open up the voice assistant. So if you're using an Apple device like I was, for example, opens up Siri and I can just say, play the next song or play a particular artist. And again, not doing anything. It's just all hands-free. And I do love that experience. Not having wires even between the buds themselves is also an added advantage, because at this price point, you won't find many brands, if any, that actually offer individual buds that connect to your phone.
Setting them up, a lot of people who just you pick them up out of the packaging, for example. I mean, how obvious is it how you go about connecting these to your device? Because some of them you got to hold the button down for this amount of time, wait for this, wait for that flash. When that flash does that, open this, then do this. What about these ones from Xiaomi?
Look, it's quite simple. There is instructions in the box, but I almost didn't need them, because there is a pretty obvious button on the side that when you do open the case for the first time, you hold it for a couple of seconds. You do see that light start to flash. In my iPhone, open up Bluetooth settings, and I was easily connected. So it is simple. Unfortunately, they do have instructions in the box, which again, not many brands do that anymore, is actually put the instructions in there. They expect you to just know.
And unfortunately, lots of people, they don't. The next thing I wanted to know about was, do these ones have any sort of element of noise cancellation built into it? Anything on those grounds?
They have isolation for voice calls. So if you are on the phone with somebody, the audio experience is pretty good. Even if there is a bit of wind about, they can still pick up your voice and hear them fairly well. They don't do noise cancellation from an audio point of view. So if I'm listening to music, it's not going to completely, block that out. Depending on your ear size, and it's a weird thing to talk about when you talk about people's ears, but these buds do have a one size fits all, and hopefully it's that perfect fit so you do have a good listening experience. But what we do know with some people, if they've got larger ears than others, it actually may be quite loose in the ear, and as a result, that audio experience won't be as good. But having a good fit is always important.
All right, so you found 4 hours, you found 14 hours of listening throughout the day. How many recharges is that to get to that amount of total time?
So because each every time you use them, you've got 4 hours of use just on the buds alone. So you will need to recharge it, 2 or 3 times to make the most of all the power that's inside the case itself. But usually, if we're honest, 14 hours is a lot to do in one day. I'd expect that you're going to be home and ready to charge back in if you have to.
Very good. All right, Xiaomi's buds. More details in the comment or in the post below. Check them out. We'll also have more from Xiaomi over the coming weeks here on the show. They are an advertiser on our website. Full disclosure on that one. But Jeff, thanks for taking us through your thoughts on the product. Independent as always. Appreciate your time once again.
My pleasure. Thanks, Charlie.
With the bulk of Australian households containing people 15 years and under accessing the internet, it's more important than ever that they can do that activity safely. That's where Trend Micro can help with Trend Micro Home Network Security and its new complementary app, Trend Micro Guardian. Previously, Home Network Security's parental control features could only protect those you love when they were at home. Now, with the Trend Micro Guardian app, these features are enhanced in the home and protection is extended to wherever your kids may travel on both phones and tablets. The app gives you the ability to filter inappropriate web content, block inappropriate websites on your child's devices, and also set time limits to manage their screen time. It also gives parents the ability to monitor and receive alerts in real time. But once they're out of the house, watch to stop them from removing it from their phone. That's where the Trend Micro Guardian app comes in. The app can prevent any attempts to remove or uninstall it from any device without authentication, and it works on any network from 4G and Wi-Fi through to 5G. Trend Micro Guardian gives parents that extra level of visibility whilst keeping their kids safe without being intrusive. Users of the Trend Micro Home Network Security Station with valid subscription can also get, at no extra charge, the Trend Micro Guardian app. It's available from the Google Play Store and Apple App Store. There's lots of examples of how 5G cellular technology is enhancing what we do when we're at home and what we can do when we're out in the community. One of the telco providers, Optus, has just announced a new example that they aim to assist with how we go shopping to big shopping malls around the country. They're doing a trial at the moment, and we thought we'd have a chat with Harvey Wright. He's the head of 5G at Optus to talk more about what they're doing. How are you, Harvey?
I'm good, thanks, Charlie. Yourself?
Yeah, look, I'm really good, and I'm interested about this augmented reality shopping assistance initiative that you're doing. Just top line, tell us exactly what the goal is here to make people's shopping experiences better with the addition of a 5G enabled handset with Optus.
Yeah, so what we're doing is basically showcasing 5G technology. I mean, folks are increasingly aware of the benefits of what 5G means in terms of better speed, better connectivity. What we're trying to do here is to give them, consumers, a bit of a glimpse into the future as to how 5G could enable something that everyone's familiar with, in which case, in this case, sort of a shopping or retail experience. So what we've done is we've partnered with Samsung and Virtual Immersive, a local startup, to build a sort of a proof of concept that shows how using 5G, customers can get an augmented reality experience when they're out and about in a mall or on the high street doing shopping. So what does that mean? It means the application itself will be able to show a three-dimensional virtual reality version of a product that a customer is interested in. So they could be interested in a new pair of shoes, for example, and using a combination of technologies, the application would alert the customer to the fact that it is that particular pair of shoes in the size that's right for the customer is available in a particular store. And then the customer will be able to sort of interact with that in terms of being able to see the sort of a three-dimensional rendering of the shoe, or even be able to sort of try it on virtually using augmented reality. So sort of project that sort of a rendering of that particular product or garment onto the customer themselves.
You've only got to go hang out at a shopping mall for a very short amount of minutes before you'll see a mum walking past with kids in tow. And what you notice about the sort of tone of their movement is they're very brisk. They've got a list of things that they want to get done, and they don't have very much time. And what I actually see with what it is that you're doing is you're allowing that kind of consumer to walk past a store, hold the phone up, see whether what it is that they have put on their list is in the store now. And if it is, then they'll go in. And if it's not, they can go on. Is that the kind of opportunity?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the notion of getting the best of both worlds. So the browsing experience that shoppers enjoy of being able to sort of wander and view and experience products and services on offer, but at the same time delivering using information and insight and data to enhance that. And you're right, folks that are time poor or rushed or have a particular thing in mind that they don't want to be disturbed by a shop assistant, and they just want to sort of get in and get the product they want. That's a great example as well. But at the same time, impulse shoppers as well. So once you've got the information, you can start to use it in some really interesting ways. So based on previous purchase behavior, using artificial intelligence, having seen you're interested in this particular product, start to make that sort of recommendation. Something most people are familiar with a sort of an online shopping experience, all of a sudden becomes more real in a sort of a physical context as you sort of go through a retail environment and are prompted for services or products that you're interested in.
And I guess because you're already at the shopping center or shopping mall, you can have a much quicker turnaround in procuring that product that you potentially could be interested in while you're there. I mean, look, how often have we gone to the shopping center and thought, well, I just bought a new TV a couple of weeks ago. I did intend to look at soundbars, but I kind of forgot that I was going to look at soundbars. All of a sudden I'm prompted that I was going to look at soundbars. Oh, by the way, there's the local electronic stores down there, and here's a map, and all that sort of enhancement things, I guess, is what you're bringing, correct?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And I think, and the other sort of dimension here as well is obviously, the very here and now issue around social distancing and the fact that you can't have crowded stores and lots of people crowded around racks of clothes or whatever it is. And so I think this has got a sort of a timely reminder of how to like I say, create that sort of hybrid between the physical up close, actually touching and feeling the product and the more sort of distance of sitting in front of a computer looking at a product. It strikes a sort of a happy medium between the two.
One of the things you've obviously got to make sure of when you step back a bit, Harvey, as you got 5G in all the shopping malls where you want to do this, how have you been able to focus on doing that? Do all the big shopping malls, the Westfields, for example, all have 5G now? Is that something you're rolling out to if they're not quite there yet?
So, we've deliberately tried to sort of, through this particular proof of concept, through this particular showcase, sort of project ourselves into the future a little bit, just to sort of ignite the imagination around this technology. 5G itself is a sort of a multi-year rollout and upgrade. And not only that, I think something that I'm keen to sort of stress to folks is that the 5G technology itself will evolve. So it's not like the 5G standards are all done and dusted, and the technology is good to go, and it's just a question of sort of rolling it out. But the capabilities and the functionality that 5G will bring will improve over time.
But so what you're saying, just to draw back to the coverage, you are working to get 5G into shopping centres, because walk around a shopping centre, there's concrete everywhere. I mean, it must be an absolute nightmare for you to get cellular penetration into all the nooks and crannies of a shopping centre, right? So you're actively working to get that rollout at the same time that you're actively working to develop the applications so it's the push and the pull factor, right? You're pushing the 5G in, and you're creating the applications that want people to have 5G while they're at their shopping mall as well.
Yeah, correct. And look, I think the rollout of 5G is a, like I say, a multi-year complex undertaking, and what you've sort of highlighted in terms of what we term in-building coverage is something that our engineers are constantly working on improving and enhancing. So getting smaller antennas into things like shopping centres and getting that sort of coverage, which is something that has happened with 4G over the years as well, now has to be sort of revisited as the 5G technology comes along, and really improving the coverage to the point where, like you say, it's in every nook and cranny and sort of ubiquitous. But I think you highlight another important point, right, which is the parallel process of innovation. And what we're trying to do at Optus is work with global partners like Samsung and local startups like Virtual Immersive to really push the frontier of what's possible and to experiment. Because I think that the reality is, we've probably not even thought of the killer app for 5G, and it's all about innovation and experimentation and pushing the frontier of what the technology could do to uncover the full potential of what 5G can bring.
There is so much more to explore and develop and try and fail with and try again when it comes to 5G. We are in its infancy, and it's going to change so much about what we do across the suburb and in our homes as well. Always good to have a chat. Harvey Wright, head of 5G for Optus. Great initiative what you're doing. Thanks for joining us today, and best of luck with developing it further and those next ideas that you haven't told us all about yet. We'll talk to you about those another time.
Thanks very much, Charlie.
This segment is brought to you by GME, the safer smart device. With your questions this week, Tony asked about watching the TV. Tony said that he wants to have the audio up louder than his wife does. And he said that he tried a set of Bluetooth headphones. But of course, when he activated those, or a set of headphones that went into the 3.5mm jack on the TV and plugged them in, the speaker volume cut off to 0. Now, what Tony wants to do is fairly standard across most people these days, especially in the older community. There's a volume that's comfortable for one person but may not be comfortable for another person who's also watching TV too. So what can you do? Well, there's a couple of things. Sennheiser make a set of wireless headphones that can be plugged into a audio splitter. Now the splitter is then plugged into the television. So the television goes to the splitter goes into the wireless headphones that with Sennheiser, but at the same time you can also plug into that splitter a soundbar. So you can have audio in the room at one volume, and then you can have audio going through the wireless Sennheiser headphones at a higher volume if you choose to. The other thing you can do is you can get a soundbar that has multiple satellite speakers with it. JBL make one. It's not too expensive. And what you can do is place the soundbar in front of the TV, and then the satellite speakers you can place closer to the person in the room that is wanting the volume louder. So by simply placing those wireless speakers closer to one person, they will be able to hear the TV better, and the person who doesn't want the volume quite so loud can sit a little bit further away and pick up the sound more from the soundbar under the TV. There's a couple of ways to do it, but those are some ideas, Tony. Hope that helps you with your viewing pleasure when watching television.
This is Genie, the touchscreen device delivering your favourite streaming entertainment. It's smart, safe, and fits in your pocket. You'll notice that Genie has no cameras, as this is an entertainment device. Every Genie has Bluetooth and Wi-Fi connectivity, a 5-inch plastic touchscreen, FM radio receiver, and a 2,200 mAh battery. We've also included basic parental controls allowing you to pin lock the apps and settings on every Genie. Don't know the pin? Then you can't open the app. There are 3 versions of Genie: Genie, Genie Plus, and Genie Connect. Genie is perfect for listening to apps like Spotify and Apple Music with limited distractions. Genie Plus has the same hardware but is a Google-registered device. So we've pre-installed some Google services like YouTube, Google Maps, and Chrome, and you can download and install your favorite apps via the Google Play Store. Genie Connect is just like the Genie Plus, but with 4G connectivity. Your Genie Connect will stream your favorite entertainment via Wi-Fi and 4G, make and receive calls, and also text. With Genie Connect, we've included the ability to personalize the incoming and outgoing call and SMS experience using our preloaded call block. Block or approve incoming calls and SMS traffic as you decide. Find your Genie, a safer, smart device.
Thanks for watching. Big thanks to Sony, Optus, and of course Jeff Quattromani, guests on the show today. We will have those interviews cut and published separately to this show over the coming hours and days. Comments in the comment box. We'll see you next week.